Hey, welcome, Inspired Tribe. How's it going? Welcome to the Inspired channel for another wonderful Inspired live stream with you all. My name is Jean Nolan. It's my wonderful wife, Kristin Nolan, the wise voice from behind the camera, and we are healthy, we're wealthy, we're whole, we're free. It is Thursday, August 22nd, 2021, WON, and we're very, very excited that you're here. It's a beautiful thing to come together for this special Thursday. Let me apologize first for a mix-up with the original. So the time for the live stream is always 2 p.m. Central. But there was a mix-up with the scheduling, so some of you showed up really early today. I apologize for that. My bad. But we're here for a Q Thursday, which is a kind of a Q&A question Thursday. You ask your questions, we're going to answer. And a curious fact is that, I looked this up. It's only, can you believe it? It's only 17 Thursdays till the end of the year. It's kind of weird how fast this year went by. So pretty crazy. So welcome to Q Thursday. Your questions, we're going to try to get to as many as we can. Just ask them in the live chat. Introduce yourself. Kristin's going to read the questions and kind of intuitively see what jumps out. As always, usually these questions are, always applicable to a lot of you, or maybe even to all of you. And so we're just going to make this a beautiful journey together. Let me welcome you all. Who is here today? I see Elaine, Cosmicality, welcome. Sarah Jones, LaVale, Carol is here. Good to see you. Sunshine Education is here. Monica is here. Wonderful to see you. Then Agnieszka, it's good to see you, Agnieszka. Wonderful that you all tuned in. Let people jump on. Again, I'm sorry about the confusion with the times. But yeah, as soon as you're ready, let us know where you're tuning in from, and feel free to ask your question. I'm just patiently waiting.
Well, in the meantime, you could talk a little bit about the Yadu Retreat.
Should we?
Yes.
Should we? Until we get warmed up with the questions today. Kristin reminded me that we have a beautiful retreat coming up. There's so much going on that half of the time we forget about all the stuff that's going on. So we have an in-person retreat coming up at the end of September in Florida, Cape San Blas, Florida. And it's going to take place right on the beach. Beautiful. We have a few, when I say maybe a handful spots left. Maybe a handful spots left. We got a few more signups this morning. And it's what we're going to do over the course of 3 days is create an energetic shift together. In 3.5 days, we cannot change your life, and we couldn't change your life as it is. Even you, in 3.5 days, cannot change your whole life. But what you can do is create the energetic shift that change requires. What you can do is put yourself on the path and have a really, really good and strong start. And we're going to jump out of our everyday rituals and routines. We're going to jump out of whatever it is that you're usually doing. Disrupt that and bring in something new, something different, and expand physically, emotionally, spiritually, on all levels. And it's going to be expand and move beyond your comfort zone kind of experience. Really, really cool. We're excited for all the people that already signed up. If you feel inspired, check the link out later. I'll put it in the top of the live chat where you can find out more about the retreat, September 30th till October 3rd in Cape San Blas, Florida. We would love to have you. Again, a few spots left. Yeah.
Okie doke. I will read the first question.
Yes,
Elaine asked the first question. How can we best speak our truth? Almost tempted to speak in our pharmacy as people wearing masks when no mask mandate. Crazy people. So how can we speak our truth best?
That's a good question. A question that has come up during our courses and during a lot of different events that we've done over the past year. How to speak your truth, and also when to speak your truth. And there's this, it always leads back to that inner compass that you have. And sometimes speaking your truth, speaking truth in general, can lead to a very heated conversation, can lead to a very heated discussion. Now, there's this old saying that says, pick your battles, right? And I'm going to add the pretext. How to pick the time is when you feel, not when your ego is triggered, or not when this, this voice inside your head says, you got to tell them that you're wrong, not when that's triggered, but when you feel something deeper inside that basically, not so many words, makes you feel like you could positively contribute to this. You have the ability in that moment to create a shift, whether that's through words or just through your example. That's a good situation. I mean, we all have egos, and we all get triggered, and we all have kind of a glass that gets full sometimes, full with emotions, and then when it overflows, we just might react to something. But if you, it seems like your question is coming from a deeper place and from a deeper desire to create shift moments, or to inspire change, or to inspire even a thought process within people. And that best happens when you first check in. And when that comes through, I mean, you could be in aisle 7 looking for peanut butter, and there's someone standing next to you, and you just have the hunch, you want to say something, you want to talk to them, there's something you have to share. I've done this many times with perfect strangers, shared deep messages. It was never awkward because it came from a deeper place. So pay attention to that, pay attention to who, is it coming through here? Or is it just like, oh my God, I need to tell them how wrong they are, or, how right I am, or they should know better. Everyone gets tempted to do that at times. I've never really had much success in a situation like that, to be honest.
Frank is asking, how do former experiences in our life affect our actual life, and what can we do about it? This might be interesting for the audience too. Very good question.
So Frank is asking a great question. How do former experiences influence our life, and how can we deal with that? Which is a big, it's such a big theme. I think in the upcoming live streams, we're going to go deeper into that. But generally speaking, it's not just individually, it's collectively. This is the first time in this lifetime that I can remember that the individual experience that millions of people have is mirrored, exactly as the collective experience that we have on this planet. And this is a time for healing. And what Frank says is, basically to add to that question, what if I had bad experience in my life? What if I had trauma? What if something painful happened? What if there was abuse? I mean, the stories vary, but the pain and the trauma is something that is real for people. It is stored deep inside of you. It is stored in your heart. It is stored in your emotional body. And whether you want it or not, or whether your conscious mind can conceive that, every decision that you make, if you have such past trauma energy within you, every decision in your life that you make is going to be influenced by that past trauma. Mainly because subconsciously you're going to try to avoid to experience that again. So you might make choices that you would never make if you were healed from that. And so our past, unless it is, unless these traumatic experiences are healed and forgiven, is a constant companion. We might not realize it consciously, but it influences every area of our lives. And you cannot really lead a happy, healthy, vibrant life when there's baggage holding you back. You might be content. You might have happy moments, of course, but as a general state, without healing, it won't happen. And this is the moment where that's what we see more than ever before in the past 12 to 18 months. The time for healing has arrived for the whole world and everyone on it. It's quite unbelievable how many people are ready for this, or they're just so much in pain that that's the only way to go forward, to finally heal what they've been carrying with them. So that's an excellent question. And I want to say that all the healers, physical, spiritual, emotional, psychological, all healers are called more than ever to shine and to offer their guidance and help, because the healing part of this journey is actually very short. It actually happens in an instant, and then a lot of wonderful things take place.
Yeah, I think that's very important, that healing itself is really very, very short. The process is a short process.
Yeah.
I think sometimes people have to picture in mind that it's a long and very ongoing journey, but it really is just very short process.
When you're living with stored trauma, that's just an active vibration, active energy within you, whether you realize it or not, then you need so much extra energy in your life to walk with that, to keep it down. And so when the moment for healing, for forgiveness comes, which is usually through some process, or you're just having a very intense experience that leads you there, when you allow it, that moment is short, that moment is and it is freeing. It isn't painful. It might be pain that leads you there, but the moment itself is very, very liberating and freeing, and it doesn't last very long. It just happens then in the moment. So that healing journey, and once that happens, the healing, and that's the beautiful thing, your whole life begins to change, and that's not a fairy tale. Your whole life begins to change because you're making different decisions. You're walking with a different energy. I hope this answered the question.
Well, the Graham is asking, is there anything gratitude cannot heal? Will it heal past experiences too?
So I can never say something is impossible. I can never say this is the only way. This is the only way. I can only speak, and we can only speak for our experience and what we have seen in the work with people. Kristin has been in this, in especially, that's her bread and butter, her spirit, her soul, in the work with people. And I want to say hundreds, if not thousands of journeys. There was not a single time where just shifting the mindset or shifting into a feeling of gratitude was enough to heal, transmute the past energy. It always required a specific, dedicated journey or process to actually go into a level of forgiveness. And the reason, and so many people, it is something I'm not to judge, not to point fingers, but there's a practice called spiritual bypassing. And what that means is in order to avoid whatever pain there might be, whatever is still stored down here, I'm going to use all of the beautiful spiritual tools and practices and meditations that I know or have learned to make myself feel better. And there's value in that, and that there's, it's a legitimate thing to do, but it does not, or I have never seen it heal the deeply stored pain, trauma. If there's anyone out there who has done it like that, please let us know how you've done it. But the process, the healing process, is nothing to fear. It's the most liberating thing ever. And it always results in deep gratitude, always results in deep appreciation, because you're actually doing it at a level of source. So in our experience, the answer to your question would be no. I've never seen it like that, no.
Purple Soul is asking why I don't find a nice soulmate. That makes me sad every day.
It's it's a deep question with no information, of course, no background. But let me just tune in and the feeling that I get is that who you see in the mirror every day, who is looking back at you, the one you live with 24/7, you're not really deeply, unconditionally accepting of that being, that person. You, not the way you are. There's conditions. That's what I'm picking up. There's There's a list of things you don't appreciate or love about yourself, a list of things that you might not have forgiven yourself for. And so that love that you're looking for, that unconditional soulmate love, that what you call it, it radiates first from within you, and that pulls that kind of love in. That's what I'm sensing and feeling.
Linda is asking, how can I help my husband? I'm awake but waiting on him.
That's a very common question. It's probably a big theme for so many people because for many couples, this is the ultimate test, the ultimate journey, because usually in most cases, one sails ahead and the other one is either not even willing or maybe just very slowly. And so, as we said before, the best help that you can always be is by shining your light, being an example. If you allow awakening, and really that's a big word, but if you allow this in your life, then it must lead to greater happiness, greater joy, greater fulfillment, because it leads you to authenticity. And authenticity means being who you really are. And when you allow yourself to be that, express yourself that way, not by pointing fingers, not by pointing out what others are doing wrong, but more by just being that, right? That has a tremendous power, because if someone is truly standing in their authentic power, we're attracted to those people. Have you ever experienced this? You're in a room full of people and it's a nice crowd, and as all of a sudden someone walks in, one more person added to the mix, but that person is just larger than life, not in a show-off way, but just the aura, it's just radiating. And the whole room begins to gravitate towards that person. Everyone is kind of trying to get to talk to them. And people think, or most people think, it's this kind of charisma is only reserved to a very few on this planet. It's kind of the celebrity thing, the fame thing. It's really not. It's people that have realized who they really are, that have accepted themselves for the grand beings that they really are. And so when you step into that power, allow yourself to be that, you're going to be so attractive, not in the physical way. Of course, that is a part of it, but I mean attractive in shining your light. And that's for your husband and for anyone else who gets in touch with you. That is the biggest inspiration there can be, far more than words. And then usually the questions begin. I've been observing those changes. I can see you're happier than ever before. I can see you're calmer. You have a knowing about you, and that's really an inner process.
We decided to teach our daughter from home. She's 7 years, homeschooling. She also feels it's much better. Did you also do this big step with your children?
Our children, which in the traditional sense of the word, have all finished their schooling, if you want. They're out of their schooling years. They're all learning. Oh my God, they're all learning and they're expanding. But in terms of the school career, it's over for them. And they have gone through, we have tried and experimented, to be honest, with everything from public school to private school to Waldorf school to no schooling, to according to their journey too. And if we were to start over, there would be no more school for our children from the get-go. That we know this, very clearly. So especially in today's environment, we can only speak what we would do, right? Especially in today's environment, I would never ever put my child in a school unless it's one of the few schools that we have visited over the years or got in contact with that have a completely different, more natural approach to learning, that are actually in sync with the children, that are actually in sync with nature, that are in sync with what it really means to learn. And that those schools and there are a few around the world, are absolutely amazing. But other than that, any other option, whether that's in groups, with a dedicated, wonderful, awake teacher, a lot of nature, any other form of learning, and especially, also to kind of keep in mind that our understanding of learning is still very, very conditioned by what we have learned ourselves. There has to be a schedule. It happens from 8 in the morning till noon, and here's math, and then there's English, and then there's biology. And I have noticed, or we have noticed, that in any kind of outside of a school environment, learning is different, and it is way more natural because children don't distinguish between subjects, right? So to answer your question, we wouldn't put our kids in the school, and we applaud every parent right now that is opening their mind or are opening their minds to new, different, more authentic approaches to learning. So I can applaud you for that, and I appreciate you for that. And your children are going to love you and thank you for that later on when they realize what difference it has made in their lives.
Matt is asking, how do I know what deeply stored stuff I need to heal? I may have already, because I've refused to be a victim for some time now. Well, go ahead, and then I'll ask his second question.
Well, there's and thank you for bringing it up so clearly. And that is probably a judgment call that so many people make, that if I acknowledge that I have pain, or if I acknowledge that there is a trauma, then that equals victim. And I just don't believe that to be true, unless, of course, that's the journey you take, and you limit your life and limit your possibilities. And if phrases like, because of what happened to me, I can't do this, come often, or if because of my childhood, I'm not able to, then yes, then you're portraying yourself, looking at yourself as a victim. But the decision to actually heal is not a victim mentality. That is an empowerment mentality. An empowerment decision. And why I can say that is because I've done that myself, not just once, quite a few times. Felt the need that there was more healing. And the thing is, unless you go into a deeper process, which is some sort of deep, relaxed, meditative state, if you will, unless you go deep enough, you don't really know. You might just assume what the trauma is. But sometimes the trauma is something completely different. And that's why these processes are so amazing, because by going through, and this is basically what this is called, by going through your emotional layers, stored emotional layers that you usually don't have access to, you actually, at a point you arrive, some memory shows up, some vivid movie from your past that you might have forgotten consciously shows up. And it could be something completely different than you would have ever thought. And then that's where the healing and forgiveness is required. So one really good way to find out, if you're not sure, if you don't really know how to figure that out, is create a 2-3 hour window for yourself where you're completely alone. Everything is quiet. Your phone is turned off. There's no noise. There's no distraction. None whatsoever. None. I'm talking none. No one there. 2 to 3 hours. Sit down in a chair so you don't fall asleep. But sit down and just allow. What does that mean? Allow for the feelings that come up to actually come up. Not try to push them down. Not try to push them away. Just allow. And chances are that something's going to begin to happen that you did not expect. And it might feel heavy, it might feel dark, it might feel sad, but it needs to be felt in order to be healed. And so if that happens and you have made the decision ahead of time that you're going to go with it, and that's where true healing can take place and forgiveness can take place. But that's basically, without outer guidance, that's a way to feel what is truly coming up. so distracted that we don't usually.
His next question: very happy person except when she drinks. However, though she seems spiritual and is into yoga and Pilates, she gets anxious. What can or should I do?
I don't know what you can do. It sounds like it's something that your wife might want to do. Even, from speaking from our relationship, we have committed to certain things in assisting each other. In other terms, if we see a unconscious pattern in each other, in the other person, if Kristin sees something in me that I'm doing unconsciously and I'm repeating that pattern habitually, and she can sense it doesn't serve me, she makes me aware of it. It's not a criticism, it's a making aware. It's, have you noticed that you're doing this? Or have you noticed that you are expressing this? It's not a push. It's not a you have to do something. It's a making aware of. And then it's my choice whether I want to look at it or not. But in any respectful, loving relationship, that's pretty much as far as we can go. Of course, when there's no violence or abuse, that's a different subject. But you can only gently share your awareness and ask if maybe your wife feels like she would like to change or improve something, or if there's something that she feels she could use help with. Generally speaking, the gentler and if there is no judgment, it'll usually be very easy to have a conversation about that.
Cosmic Mushroom Mother is saying unconditional love is the most healing tool we have.
That's where that takes place. That's when I said source earlier, that healing place, that's unconditional love. That's where, and unconditional love holds no grudges. It knows no revenge, none of that. In the place of unconditional love, we are unconditionally forgiving. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Laval is saying, I have ups and downs. I sometimes everything in my body and feel my energy low. It's said we must accept everything that happens to us, be able to overcome it. Otherwise, it will reappear. What do you think?
Anything, really anything. To at least acknowledge that it's and accept that it was there. Anything, wherever I tried to push against or push it away, it would reappear. Usually just in a different form, but every time a little stronger, every time a little more painful. So in my life experience, in our life experience, there is no such thing as pushing something away and pretending it's not there. But with acceptance, usually comes a solution for anything that comes up. Usually comes an idea or comes an inspiration. So yes, that's definitely, and it's something that's not very well, articulated today in the spiritual community, where everyone just wants to feel amazing all the time. And because they're now becoming aware of how this all works, they don't want to accept that there might have been, or there might be some experiences that don't feel so good. And that's why it's taken longer. If you accept that there are these experiences and accept that there's power and things to be learned from that, it takes a very short while and you're moving into a more peaceful and harmonious state again. So the answer is yes. I don't know any. Message today, because this has been coming up. As I said before, this is a time for healing. And there's one theme that keeps reappearing. And I want to, first of all, applaud everyone and say how amazing it is that each and every one of you, no matter what your background is, no matter what your circumstances are, that you have accepted this journey for what it is, and we're going globally and individually and collectively through a very, very challenging time, because nothing remains quiet and hidden anymore. It's tumultuous. Everyone is feeling what is there, more or less, and the question is, what are we going to do with this? In the past, when these times have come up in a very, very much or less intense way, you know, as collectively, we've kind of just pushed that away and said, we're going to just push through this. We're just keep on going, and we're just going to go harder. And we're just going to make it work and make it happen. And that's kind of the go-getter mentality. And this time, it doesn't work anymore. There's no pushing forward without first healing, because there's nothing to push anymore. There's nowhere to push anymore. It doesn't work anymore. It doesn't work at any level. It doesn't work at the individual level, and it doesn't work at the individual. It's absolutely what is happening right now, absolutely what is necessary right now. And I just want you all to know that you are sharing this experience with millions and hundreds of millions of people right now. And there are a few wonderful ways, that's what I want to close with, a few wonderful ways that we have used for many years and known for many years that facilitate this healing. One is called the journey process, which was developed by a wonderful woman, an angel on earth. Her name is Brandon Bays. You can look her up, Brandon Bays. And there are journey facilitators now all over the world that she has taught. It's a beautiful process that takes a few hours, sometimes just a few minutes, but usually a few hours, where you can really truly go into deep healing, physical, spiritual, emotional, all healings. So the journey process, it's called the family constellation therapy. And contrary to what the name might suggest, it doesn't require for your whole family to show up. You can do it all by yourself. And there are seminars, and there are facilitators and teachers. Usually this takes a little bit longer. There's usually either like kind of weekend seminars or a full day seminar. And the family constellation therapy has been one of the most transformational tools that Kristin has used in her work and that we use in our work. And those are the two most amazing healing tools that we know of. And of course there are others, and of course there are other ways to do this. That's just what we've been using with many, many people and ourselves, and something that has had we've had amazing success with. So yeah, the journey and family constellation therapy. And all I can say is the rest of your life, or the beginning of your new life, it can be very soon. It can be in a few days, or it can be in months or years if you keep procrastinating this. And this healing journey is really so liberating. Your life changes dramatically in very beautiful ways. So we can only encourage you. And we want to thank you all for your questions, for being open and for being honest, and for showing up for the second Q Thursday. Because, it's just a beautiful thing. We love the. And that was it from us for this week. I also wanted to thank you all. This new T-shirt has been going out to people all over the world in the past few days. Thank you for your orders. We're just show it off. Just go out and show it to the world when you wear it. We're excited that you're wearing it. And other than that, we'll see you guys on Monday, 2 p.m. Central, right here on the Inspired channel, with another beautiful journey that we're going to take together. So be abundantly blessed, and we love you all.